Let's check out the pianos and keyboards. We got this little weird thing over here called a Briscoe harmony chord. It almost sounds like an electric stand-up accordion or something. It's like you're in Venice or something. And we're really lucky to have this beautiful early 1910s, 1920s Stark upright piano that was made in Chicago. And also all the hammers and strings and everything were redone about 10 years ago too, so it stays in tune really well. I also have this really cool little, it's almost like a student organ or student keyboard from the late 70s, early 80s. So it still kind of sounds digital and cool and retro. And it also has a bunch of these really interesting little built-in beats and preset songs in them. So it's almost like, it's a really great songwriting tool. And then your basic little micro Korg that every studio and every keyboard player has. And a Yamaha DX Mini, which is like the old DX7, the big one from the 80s too. But it's in a smaller format and it still has all the preset sounds, so it's easy to take on the road and take around and flip on top of another piano. Let's take a look at some pedals. I'm a guitar player, a self-admitted addict, so we have a couple pedals around here. A couple basic ones we have up here is my first one actually that I got in high school, an Ibanez Tube Screamer. Every guitar player can't live without it. Got a bunch of different fuzzes, like this old Swollen Pickle, this custom one that my buddy Stuart from a band called Muskrat Meadows in Vancouver made for me. It's called the Jimi, and it's got a switch on it that you can switch it between a germanium or a phosphate transistor in it, so one's either like the Jimi Hendrix or the Jimmy Page. Got a bunch of different delays and echoes. This one's my favorite in regards to those, this T-Rex replicator that's got a little tape in it and a tap tempo. The ones in this road case down here, the ones I usually use for mixing and guitar playing, but mixing mostly. Like this really awesome Union Tube and Transistor, which is a company out of Vancouver, British Columbia here in Canada. And it's a compressor. It's called their Lab, and it's kind of like an LA3A, almost like a studio mic, studio grade compressor. I use this a lot when mixing. I think it's really fun for bass guitar is this Colourbox by JHS. And it's replicating one channel of like a Neve in a recording console. So this thing gets some really dirty, nasty tones. And I like fuzz around here. This is another one too called the Ultimate Octave. If you ever listen to Queen's The Stone Age, that song Little Sister, this is that octave up sound on there. And a tuner, which is also very important to stay in tune. Another one of my favorite little toys around here is this weird little drum machine from Roland. And it kind of sounds like, this song may sound familiar to you. And you can play with the tempo and slow it down, speed it up, change the beat. Sometimes it's fun to be able to write music to something or create with something that's not in the computer. GarageBand is really fun and your phone's really fun, but this thing actually has real knobs that you can play with it, you know. And that's really it for the pedals.